I'm one of the weigh-in brothers. He's the other weigh-in brother. That makes us the weigh-in bros, and this is the weigh-in bros combat show.
What is happening right now? Your audio just went to shit. The music has taken over both of our audios. I have no idea what just happened there.
Well, I guess we'll fix it in post then. How about that?
Is your microphone cord loose? Is mine loose? What's going on here?
That's crazy talk. But you know it was loose. You know it was loose, Brady?
What's that?
UFC 327 was loose. And the moose was on the loose, it seemed like. What do you want to talk about first? Like, because we all, I feel like we need to eat a little bit of shit here. Okay. Because we were going into this this era of UFC going, man, they are really dropping the ball here. Shit is not flying the way it's supposed to. And they've got this new character at heavyweight, Josh Hokett.
I don't know if that's a character.
Oh, it's absolutely a character. But 327 delivered, bro. UFC 327 absolutely delivered. Dana, well done. Hunter, well done. All the rest of you guys that I don't know y'all's names, well done.
They listen to all of us internet losers, all of us podcasters, all of us radio folk. Doesn't matter who they listen to all. They got the message. Holy shit. What a fantastic night of fights. I watched half of this in travel, and I felt bad for the people on the train beside me until I got to the Dominic Reyes fight. Then they felt bad for me, but I felt bad for the people I was on the train with. I felt bad for the co-pilots I had in the Ubers and such. And I was screaming every 10 seconds.
I feel like in the world of professional wrestling that Dominic Reyes fight was what we refer to as the popcorn match, ladies and gentlemen.
That was the go take a piss and fix your balls match.
That was if you thought this was going to be something, psych, you might as well go have a smoke. Well, but we made up for it. Holy shit, did they ever make up for it?
Okay, so let's UFC 327.
Sure.
I don't even care about these numbers anymore. Let's just say the UFC big event that just happened this past weekend. Chris, where do we start? Do we start right at the prelims at this point? Because
I mean, is there enough time? Is there enough time? There's really not enough time. I think we know that, like, because there was big announcements, there was big fights, there was big excitement, big drama.
There was also
and the big man himself.
There was a future prediction that me and you, yet again, I have to do this.
Yeah.
I got to pat ourselves on the back here, sir.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. We'll get to that one in a second. But let's talk about the flavor of the week. Let's talk about the man that everybody, I mean, the character, it's funny. It's like a combination. You know what? I say this. It's like, remember when they made the movie The Wrestler? And they took all of the stories of a bunch of different wrestlers and piled it into this one character. This is what I think Josh Hokett is. I think that he's taken all of the cringiest people, the Triple C's, the Chael Sonnens, the Colby Covingtons, and he's put it all into one character that involves somebody who's clearly autistic, clearly on the spectrum running around there. So is this like his safe, you can't say this to me because Josh is autistic and Hokett is this crazy wild man? Yo, are we just saying that fucking like bipolar people are fighting in the UFC?
Okay,
is this what he's trying to get
whoa. Before we get in trouble, bipolar and in autism have nothing to do with each other. They're not even in the same category. They could coexist, and I feel bad for the parents.
In Josh Hokett.
They may. Here's the thing about Josh, man. I'm just gonna push all the fucking fluff talk out to the side. The guy's fantastic. I have never seen a man Go out there and in this division, in the heavyweight division specifically, guys in welterweight do this, guys in other classes do this, but in heavyweight, the first 30 seconds of the fight, they just go out there like it's the last 30 seconds of the fight.
Yeah.
He is a tremendous talent.
And well, he's obviously, the unfortunate thing is that is the UFC's next superstar.
No, as of this morning, as of us recording this, he's the guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, so much so that it didn't even take till morning. So, and we're going to get to that in a second. But him coming out there and immediately flipping off Curtis Blades, throwing caution completely into the wind, much faster because he's not a huge heavyweight. He's not a massive heavyweight. And you look at him and you're like, what is going on with this guy? He seems to be coming in doing all of the right things in terms of rubbing people the wrong way. He almost gets into it with staff.
He's just grinding on the ring girls.
Grinding the ring. The ring girls never pop. If you notice this on stage, the ring girls never pop.
Ever.
Fucking shit. Like, straightforward, eyes front, don't do nothing.
They've been caught a few times checking guys out and smiling and giving each other the Iggy and stuff, and they got in trouble for it. You could tell.
Yeah, but he just basically went out there and went all Magic Mike on these motherfuckers.
I apologize. I feel like we're cursing a lot more than we usually do in this show, but why can't you? Kind of have to. He set the tone for how you would review this show, and he's a motherfucker.
He's got everybody amped up. He's got everybody completely amped up. So amped up that at a heavyweight fight, he goes out there, fights 3 rounds with Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades, who tried to wrestle, right? Like you could tell after he got popped in the face, he was like, yo, I got to take this guy down. And Josh Hokett said, nah, you are not wrestling me. Stood back up and put his middle finger in his face. The amount of middle finger, like this guy thought he was Steve Austin, just floating middle fingers around so much in this fight. I don't think Diaz. I think Diaz boys were blushing at the amount of middle fingers that Josh Hokett was throwing up during this fight.
Yeah, he's a crazy wonky dude, and it's funny because people thought that he was tired, right? And he had gotten rocked a few times throughout that. Well, he got rocked every 2 seconds in that fight, but at the end of the one round, where Curtis is like, at this point, Curtis is doing this, and then he gets tagged by Curtis right from that switch left hook, and then Josh starts doing this, making fun of him as he's the whole thing was a masterpiece.
And all you hear is the guys from Jackson Lincoln screaming their heads off. Move your head. And he refused to.
That wasn't the plan.
That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get paid. Yeah. This was his 9th fight, 10th fight professionally.
He's 8-0, I think now.
You know what I mean? His 3rd fight in the UFC or something like that. And he just
took out not doing the stats.
He just took out the number 5 guy.
Yeah.
In the heavyweight division.
And then this is where we'll might as well lead right into the prediction thing. So we called something a few months ago. Mm-hmm. One was there's no way there's going to be a UFC White House card without Derek Lewis.
100%.
Because Derek Lewis is Donald Trump's favorite fighter.
Up until last night.
Until they announced right after this fight, Dana went live on his Instagram and social media. Well, and I don't even know how you do it this quick. Do you want to lay this out?
Sure. This is how you do it. This is how you do it this quick. You're sitting ringside. You're watching Josh Hokett, and you look over to your left, and you're like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And all you hear back is, "I'd really like to have this guy at my birthday party." And so you're like, "Okay, Mr. President, I guess we're booking this guy at your birthday party." And it'd be really cool if you could find a way to get that Derek Lewis involved. Well, it just so happens they happen to be heavyweights. And we're going to make that happen for it. How fast can you make that happen? I can make that happen by the time they get to the back.
By the time Josh's speech was over, Dana had already hung up his cell phone with Derek and offered him $1 million for that fight or whatever he offered him, just to say yes on the phone right then and there.
Yeah.
Say your number. Who cares?
Yeah.
Click. This is Derek's retirement fight.
100%.
Derek is about to go out. He's going to get finished, and we know that.
Mm-hmm.
Derek, hopefully I'm wrong, because I'd love to see you actually stop not only a hype train and let him humble himself, because that's what makes a true champion.
100%.
That has to happen, and Derek would be the perfect guy to do that, because no one would blame Josh for getting slept by a guy like Derek, because Derek is one of those unpredictable guys. They didn't hold it against Volcon. They're not going to hold it against anybody with Derek. Derek, just if he catches you, and it's a freak kind of occurrence, like a Tank Abbott or something, right?
Yep.
So Derek gets to retire with a whole big bag. Like, Chris, that bag is as big as our bellies combined. This is a big amount of money that he would have got from saying yes on that phone call.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Josh is going to get paid the same amount of money he would if he just fought right there. So it's like, it's not going to be a fortune fight, but it's a fortune for Derek.
But Josh walked away with an extra $200,000.
That's what I'm saying. So he's going to
he's going to be just fine if he does this again. Plus,
Donald's going to pay for himself out of his own pocket. That $100 million he just took.
He doesn't do that.
Oh,
he doesn't do that. Donald Trump is a clever businessman who has figured out a way to not pay for stuff himself.
You say
not drinking the haterade.
No, I am,
because I wish I had the ability to do that shit too. I'd be swindling the hell out of all y'all.
Look at here I am. I'm conveniently wearing a picture of myself on my sweater with my signature so that everybody could copy my likeness and make these for your own selves. You can do that if you're watching on YouTube. Look at that. You know, that's called the art of the business deal, my friend. Donald taught me that.
And with that new mustache and that new look, you couldn't possibly look like you were trying to befriend a certain community.
I look like a crackhead Mark Maron.
You look gay.
I just there's nothing wrong with that.
I didn't say there was anything wrong with it. I said that's how you look. But anyways, let's get back to the real big news. Let's get back to the real big news. I don't know if you know this or not, Brady. Another big announcement was made at UFC 327. A signing that we actually talked about a long time ago. Another one.
Predictions. One show.
Boom. Crazy talk. That's why this is sometimes it's the ugliest show with the hottest takes.
It's 100% the worst looking show. This is horrible. I feel bad for anybody who's gotten this far.
I've seen Thrush that looks nicer than the two of us. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I've just killed Brady. So, but
coffee up my nose, Chris.
Well, it didn't make you look any better. But let's talk about the big signing. Let's talk about the massive signing that we talked about a while ago, and it just looks like it came to fruition.
Yes, sir.
The UFC has signed Brock Lesnar. I mean, Gable Steveson.
We're in so much trouble.
Sorry, Burnt Angle. Not that one either. Don't look at me shocked. You
Chris. What the fuck was that?
What did
you just do?
Nothing. These were things that were floating around the internet after the signing. I'm not making these things up. I'm reporting news here, dude. These are some of the things that people are saying about Gable Steveson. Here's my question. How come he can't get on the White House card?
Oh, there's charges.
What?
There's some charges there behind him.
That's weird. Huh.
Why are you doing this right now? Why are you doing this? What are you doing? All right, so Gable got signed. We're about to see
the new John Jones.
A new John Jones. We're about to see a big actual movement with Gable. I do think that Gable's not only going to bring in a bit of the WWE crowd that knew his name and such and such. He's going to bring in the amateur wrestling crowd, which is always a good crowd to kind of bring into this environment because it shows guys that, hey, there's money to be made after the Olympics and NCAAs and such. So, yeah, I think Gable's a great move. I think eyes come on him, but I do not think Gable's ready for pay-per-view yet. I think a fight night, maybe co-main event, main event is the best way to start off Gable.
Well, it's funny that you say that because Dana actually said afterwards when he was asked about this, like, what do you do with him? Right. And Dana kind of alluded to the fact without actually coming out and saying, he was like, well, I mean, we kind of, there's no easy fights here. He had to kind of backstep himself a little bit there, and basically say that, yeah, we're going to take care of this guy the right way. We're paying this. This is way too much of a big deal for us not to do this. And then he followed that up with
any other stupid questions?
That's what I'm saying.
I forgot we had sounds.
I know. I did too. Like this one.
Hey, where are the white women at?
That is something that you heard Kevin Holland say during his presser, who is also very adamant about telling the people of the press, smarten up. Ask some better questions.
Ask better questions. Be a little bit more real. This is why you're seeing the rise of, we've brought it up before, but MMA Guru. This is why he's coming up. I know you don't like him, but
no, I never said I don't like him.
You don't agree with him. I guess I shouldn't have said you don't like him. You don't agree with him all the time.
Like us.
He would be a great member. Like where the logo is right now, it'd be great if his face was there.
We should just put it there.
Maybe. Next week, MMA Guru's face is going to be right there in the middle of us. But so like these guys like MMA Guru are rising up. The Demetrius Johnsons are becoming one of the bigger names. Even Luke Thomas has started to come kind of back out from the weird cave he lived in for a few years of shilling the UFC to now turning and saying, look, the politics have taken over this company and corporate capitalism has taken over this company, but there's still the ability to have good fights. Like we still support these guys. We still want them to do well. It sucks they're in kind of a weird environment right now. But with that said, last night, completely threw all of this talk that all of us have been talking about, the MMA Gurus, the Lukes, the Ariel Hawanis, that holy shit, these cards are getting stale. We had one of the best events I've seen from start to finish in a very long time. And Johnny Walker and Dominic Reyes will be let go. This was a defining, maybe they get a one more fuck you out the door kind of thing against the killer, but I think both of them are gone.
Well, I think that one of them possibly stays. And here's why. And it would probably be the one that won. I think that there's maybe one fight left that you give to Dominic Reyes, and it happens to be against Paulo Costa. I think because Paulo Costa looked very good in his fight. He looked like secret Jew Paulo Costa of old.
He actually looked, even with saying that, because back in the day he was regardless of his chin. But he's been hit a few times. He's been tagged a few times. He's had some long fights now. He went in there with the best defense I've ever seen Paulo Costa like actually participate in. He usually always starts out really defensive and then he gets dumb. Or I shouldn't say dumb, but he gets careless, right? And he starts throwing himself out there. He looked like a champion last night.
Yep. And that's a guy
like an actual champion.
That's a guy who I can see, because obviously they set this card up because they crowned a new light heavyweight champion in Carlos Ulberg after, his fight with Yuri Prochazka, who, I mean, Yuri, everybody's like, oh, poor Yuri, because Yuri had, felt sympathy and tried to blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up. All of y'all, shut up. It's a fist fight. He shouldn't have done that, and he paid the price for it. The unfortunate reality is if he hadn't have paid the price for it, he possibly and probably could have taken Carlos Ulberg out. And in doing so, not put the division on lock for another fucking year, because that's exactly what's going to happen right now. Carlos Ulberg, to his own admission, he's like, yep, blew my knee out. It looked like his calf just came completely unattached or whatever when you watch the playback. But regardless of what happens, he's now going to need some surgery. He's now going to need recovery time. They're now going to have to do an interim championship. So why not? Because, you're going to have the time. Why not Dominic Reyes and Paulo Costa for that interim championship? The winner of that gets a chance to fight Carlos Ulberg when he's ready to fight. I think that gives Dominic Reyes a chance to redeem himself a bit after, because it's been a minute since he fought. We'll give him that. Looked like shit. Let's let him redeem himself. He did win. And Paulo Costa definitely should be that next guy. So one of those guys, you make him the interim championship, and because that division's on lock now for a minute. It's gross.
As amazing as it was to see a human being go through that much tenacity during an injury and follow through and end up winning the fight, like literally 30 seconds to 20 seconds away from not being able to come out of the corner, that fight would have been thrown. Yuri would have won that easy peasy. With that said, I'm a huge Yuri fan, and I've being a Yuri fan from day one, you get so angry with him. It's almost like you're disappointed in your child. And I don't mean that I'm trying to belittle the guy and say he's my kid. It's the same disappointment you would have when your kid disappoints you, because your heart is so invested in this guy. You know how talented and how good he can be. And he goes out there and acts like an idiot. And when he acts like an idiot,
you know what it is. It's this.
It's not the samurai code that he. This is what I'm saying. It's falling. The cracks are coming off the story.
It's not a samurai code, because samurai will take your fucking head off. It's like that's what a samurai is supposed to do. So it's some other kind of thing. This, like, as you get older and you have, I don't know, empathy. It can't possibly be sympathy, because if it's sympathy, get the fuck out. There's no room empathy for you there. It has to be empathy. It's because you see it. You see another person like yourself who just had an injury, and you're like, oh, he had a moment there where he thought he was going to take food off the table. You know what it was? Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall moment is what I thought I saw right there, because remember, after Uriah Hall nails dude with that spinning heel kick, takes his head off, and he's like, oh no, I killed somebody. And that changed him somehow. Like, his fights got different until he was out of the UFC and back over in, like, now he's in Karate Combat or whatever. Until then, like, he was very reserved. He wouldn't pull the trigger on stuff, and he held back, and it cost him. And I think that's exactly what we saw with Yuri as well, is it cost him. Not only did it cost him the belt, it cost him the ability, because now you're like, oh, you literally just put yourself in front of the gate. You are now the gatekeeper of this thing, because you don't have that warrior spirit. And maybe you need to go home and think about, should you be just teaching other people how to do this stuff, or should you be continuing to do this stuff yourself? Well, there comes a time.
You go scream in the forest and kick logs and do all that stuff that you like doing.
But don't do it like Logan Paul did. That's the wrong forest to do that. Yeah, I said it. Sue me, bitch.
Pick a sound. Pick a sound at this point. I don't even know what to say.
Cocaine isn't cheap. It's expensive. Got to make money. Yep.
Okay, I hate doing this. I don't want to be the armchair coach and back in time and say, well, what should they have done? But Yuri, once the injury happens and Uber goes down and he gets back up, and Yuri knows, he can see it. Right? He even kicks him in the leg to test him a few times. Yeah. It really is, right? And he knows. We know what he did wrong. What should he have done at that moment to win that fight?
That's what he should have done.
Finish it.
He should have. At that moment, he should have attacked. He should have attacked low. He should have kept kicking that front leg, because it wasn't the front leg that was holding him back. Don't give it within arm's reach. You knew he was looking for that check left hook, right? You keep kicking that leg. You keep knocking him down. You keep making him get back up to the point to where he can't get back up, and his corner has no choice but to call it. Because if he makes it back to the stool, that fight's over.
It's over.
You're not letting him go out for that second round.
He wouldn't even have got to the stool if he attacked the other leg.
Well,
if he just attacked the base leg,
he didn't get into the other leg, because he had his right leg back. So it's left leg that he was kicking the entire time. So you keep kicking that left leg, because if every time he goes to check or lift that left leg to stop that, he's got to put his pressure on the right leg. He's got no pressure to put on that.
One oblique would have just finished that night. One oblique.
Yep.
That's it. It would have taken one oblique, because the hamstring was already balled up down towards the ankle. All you had to do was one. And I know guys hate the inward oblique kick, and it's technically should be banned. And if he just would have one. That's
what
over.
Yuri did is he said, you know what? We're gonna do this like warriors.
Yeah.
I see your injury, and we're gonna stand in the middle, and we're gonna throw hands until one of us can't go anymore. Well, look what that got you, stupid.
This is what I'm saying, and I feel bad for even saying it, but Yuri, smarten up, dude. Like we thought after this last little comeback after the Alex Pereira 2 thing, that you were going to work on defense and head movement and fighting like a scientific fighter, because you have the abilities to knock people out. You have the abilities to rush in. You're a speed demon. You're a freak of nature. But if you just add the science to it, the chess game, you could be unstoppable. You are so lanky. There's no way people will catch you if you just figure out not to put your lead leg down so hard and bounce in and out. And maybe that doesn't work for you. And maybe you've tried it a million times. I could be completely wrong, but I think I'm right. Work on more defense, man.
Well, listen, I can't wait to see what Josh Hockett says about Yuri Prochazka's performance.
Well, we heard what he said about Alex Pereira at the end of his speech.
Well, hey, if that guy is going to be the heavyweight champion,
that's the fight.
And if that's said, Josh Hockett better learn how to listen to his corner and move your head.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that we know to be absolute facts, and that is Alex Pereira will knock you out.
But I've never seen Alex fight.
Will knock you out.
I've never seen Alex
fight. Come to the children. Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
These are all things that we know to be facts, Brady.
I've never seen Alex fight at heavyweight. I don't know what his cardio is going to be like. I assume it will be fine because he's a very big man and he looks like he walks around at heavyweight naturally. But if we had to pit those two together this morning, there's no way Josh makes it through the one round with
the way
Alex.
that he catches shots. That dude
Start wrestling.
That dude catches strays, bro.
And I'm telling you, I think Josh would just wrestle fuck him all to hell.
I don't know if he would, because he had a perfectly good chance to wrestle fuck Curtis Blades, and
but it's Curtis,
and he didn't.
It's Curtis. He's one of the best wrestlers ever in that division.
We're going to find out what Josh Hockett is really about, because he has the perfect opportunity to wrestle Derek Lewis, who does not like to wrestle, does not like to even engage in that thing. But, it seemed like Josh Hockett had no desire to wrestle in his last fight with Curtis Blades. So,
well, my final thoughts on this whole deal. Let's get more fights like that. Let's get more events like that. If we keep going this way, I'll shut my mouth about Paramount and corporatism and all the capitalism and all this stuff. Do whatever you're going to do. Just deliver fights like that, please, and pay everyone well.
Yeah, Mawa. Making heavyweight great again.
No. This is the Law of Live Audio Wrestling. I am Little Brady Wedham. That is the Notorious T idea. We are the Weigh-In Brothers. Please follow us or subscribe anywhere you're listening to this or watching this. Check out our other shows, The Bees of Boxing with Steve Swift across the pond. He's the pugilistic professor. Sits down with Chris and reviews Boxing of the Week every single week. And also check out Good Times with KJ and Steve as they review old school wrestling, good and bad, and everything in between. Chris, let's leave these people with a great message to warm themselves up for the last little couple weeks of cold here in Southern Ontario. Take it away.
This goes out to all of you, and especially you, Josh, in your upcoming fight against Derek Lewis. Tuck your chin.